Thanks to the amazing people over at Sega, I was able to get my hands on the PS5 version of Sonic Frontiers early, and I've played this game back and forth. I made sure to dive as deep as I could into the game to really have my initial thoughts on the new direction that Sonic is going. And so far, I'm actually very impressed. The initial premise of the story begins with Sonic, Tails, and Amy flying over to the Starfall Islands in search for the Chaos Emeralds. However, sure enough, Eggman is up to no good again and ends up creating some sort of havoc, which ends up leaving Amy and Tails stuck in cyberspace. Even Knuckles gets stuck in there as well through a different means, but he is also stuck in cyberspace in the Starfall Islands, and it's up to Sonic to be able to save them. And after that initial premise, everything else kind of opens up, because then you're starting off in the very first island, and you really get to see how grand of a scale this game is going for. And just having that open experience with it being practically an open sandbox is absolutely liberating. In the Starfall Islands, there are a total of 5 islands, and each island allows you to roam free and play the game however you wish. Not only that, it's riddled with a lot of puzzles and also collectibles that you're able to get that'll help you progress the story, and it's also filled with bosses. And these bosses are some of the most unique and fun bosses I've ever fought against in Sonic games, for sure. For example, the first boss that you get to fight on the Starfall Islands is the Ninja, which you guys have more than likely have seen in trailers and all that good stuff. And that boss is relatively easy, but it's more so to get you accustomed to the feel of how these bosses function, and also to help you learn how to dodge and whatnot as well. However, as you go to the other islands, there are actually upgraded versions of those bosses, as well as completely brand new bosses as well, that's really going to keep you on your toes to make sure that you have the controls down. And on the topic of combat, Sonic, for the very first time ever, now has a skill tree and is able to learn a variety of moves that he can use in combat. Moves such as Phantom Rush, Wild Rush, Sonic Boom, Cross Slash. All of these moves feel extremely satisfying to land on the opponent, and not only that, they're really flashy too. And just being able to deal that type of damage by doing these wild combos is absolutely insane to me. I completely love it. As you continue your journey through the Starfall Islands, you'll end up running into 2 special people, and they are the Elder Coco and the Hermit Coco. And the reason why they're so important is because while you continue your ventures throughout the islands, you're going to be running into these small creatures called the Coco, and it's going to be your job to collect as many of them as possible in order to raise 2 of Sonic's stats, either his speed or his ring capacity through the Elder Coco. However, if you want to raise his attack and defense, then you're gonna have to collect the Seeds of Power or the Seeds of Defense and go to the Hermit Coco to have him raise those stats instead. Also, the Hermit Coco has the ability to balance out Sonic's ring capacity and his speed. So for example, let's say that your speed is at 10, but your ring capacity is at 8. If you wanted to, you could have the Hermit Coco balance those to 9 and 9, or if you wanted to prioritize one over the other, you could raise his speed to 11 and drop down his ring capacity to 7, or you could actually raise up his ring capacity all the way up to 11 and drop down his speed down to 7. That's just an example, but hopefully you guys get the concept. Sonic Frontiers also has the Cyberspace levels, where you're able to play small segments of certain levels from older Sonic games. What's really cool about these is the fact that they really do take it from a lot of Sonic games, like ranging from like the early classic 2D Sonic games to even the more modern ones like Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Generations, and more. Although one thing I wish they did was actually take each stage from whichever respective game they're from and have that be the cyberspace level, because one thing about this game is that though the cyberspace levels are cool, it's really only the same type of background stages each and every single time. You're primarily going to see Green Hill Zone, you're primarily going to see Sky Sanctuary, even Chemical Plant Zone, and one other throughout all of the cyberspace levels, regardless of which game they're pulling the level from. I think that's unfortunate, but it is still cool to experience all of those stages all over again. Now, of course, we have the Starfall Islands, we have the cyberspace levels, we have the free roaming, we have the boss battles, all that good stuff. However, we have the most important thing in Sonic history in this game. And it's the fact that Big the Cat is back. Thank you, God. Yes, Big the Cat is in this game. However, as usual, Big is there literally just to be there. He really has no idea how he even got to the Starfall Islands. But the main thing that you do with Big is just fish. And honestly speaking, I thought that it would really slow down the pace to the point where it wouldn't be enjoyable. But I found myself often going over to Big to fish constantly, because not only is it just a chill vibe, but you're also able to get really good rewards based off of the fish that you're able to capture. And also there are a few secrets in there, but I'll leave that for you guys to find out. And the final thing I want to talk about are the big boss battles against the Titans. Now, I'm not allowed to show you guys gameplay of that, but I do just want to say that those battles are invigorating. It truly does test your knowledge and skills of the combat in the game to the fullest. Because one thing is, your rings are going to be very important. That is all I will say about that. However, if you don't have a good grasp of the combat in the game while you face a Titan, you're more than likely going to get bodied left and right. So again, make sure to brush up your knowledge of the combat in the game and refine it as much as possible, because those Titans are no joke. Also, quick side note, this is something I really want to make sure that you guys know. You are able to change the difficulty of the game at any point in time during your playthrough. So let's say that you started off the game in hard mode and you find it too difficult to get through the game, you're able to knock it down to either normal or easy mode if you so choose. Or if you started off on easy mode, you're able to bump it up to either normal or hard mode as well. Or if you're on normal, you can either pick to go up to hard mode or knock it down to easy mode as well. But the one thing I really want to make sure that you guys know is, of course, without spoiling anything, right before you get to the final boss of the game, make sure to swap your game to hard mode. There is a secret there, and that's all I will say. Just make sure that regardless of whatever level you're playing the game at, right before you get to the final boss, change your game difficulty from whatever it's at to hard mode. You'll find a secret. You'll thank me later. All in all, Sonic Frontiers finally branches out of the old boost formula into something completely brand new. And though there are a few things that the game can improve on, the game itself was an enjoyable experience all the way to the very end. And I do believe that if you are a Sonic fan, you are more than likely going to enjoy this game as well. But that is my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers. Again, I think the game is great, and I do believe that you guys should get the game. But I do want to know in the comment section below what you guys thought about this review. And again, thank you so much to Sega for sending me the game as well. But with that being said, I'm Ndukauba, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.